Well, I didn't get much of that, but anyway, we are being heard in Minerva. So good morning, everybody. This is a Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, from not Patricia and David, but I guess you know who we are by now. It's not a very wonderful day here. We've got on and off rain, about 90% cloud cover, I guess, 16 degrees, 16, which is not too bad at this time of the day. And the barometer is 1012.4. It is certainly better than some of the reports we're getting from the boats that are in the squash zone. Do feel sorry for the conditions. Zoe, Tango, Flossifida, Tuatara, even Taranui's getting a bit beat up. Privateer doesn't sound very nice out there, so I suppose I shouldn't complain that we are sitting here with the heater on. David's been up for a couple of hours, so the heating bill is still quite high, unfortunately, but it will get warmer, we hope. Let me give you a couple of the position reports. We've got Privateer 2642-17913 west. They're still the other side of the date line. 25 to 30 knots of southwest wind a short while ago with a 3-metre swell. 90% cloud cover and a rising 1010. So things are pretty sporty. Stay safe, everybody, if you are dealing with these sorts of conditions. Not very good for the boat or the crew, but that's what squash zones bring. Alchemy 2 on their way to Australia are doing pretty well. They'll get in tomorrow before customs go on holiday for the weekend. They are currently at 2821 and 15637 east, with 10 to 12 east to east-northeast, which is probably what they'll have until they arrive. So happy landfalls to you guys. The inverted catamaran, there's a couple more boats heading that way, Avalon and I think Takato from memory, but anyway, the inverted catamaran, there is no further news on its position at the moment. I asked our New Zealand RCC to contact their counterparts, the JRCC Australia, and there is no further information. It's a bit of a shame the Aussie Air Force can't do something about bombing the damn thing and getting it out of the road. But anyway, we'll see what happens there. It's just going to be a bit of a nuisance until it gets on shore, I suppose. A report from Denarau. Thanks, Malachite. 4 knots east to southeast. Sounds rather mild and pleasant up there. 1009.5. Steady on the bar and only 2% cloud cover. So would you bring that satellite picture down a bit so it keeps jumping because I'm talking?
That's right.
But yeah, it's certainly a very different picture from yesterday. But Fiji does look as if it's it's a bit of about the only spot really. The Lao group, Fiji and the north of Tonga look pretty decent, but the rest of the place is suffering the effects of what's going on in the squash zone. So David will be talking about that shortly. I seem to have messed up my streaming thing here, but hopefully that will come right shortly. Okay. Although it just lost everything that I put in there. Oh well, never mind. Hopefully somebody will tell me that the streaming is working. I'm going to give a bit of news first, and then I will hope that the conditions are a bit better because I'm not copying anybody very well at the moment. It is, of course, the last day of October, so it's just amazing that we're very soon to not have to get up and turn the heaters on or sleep in. But anyway, it is the last day of October, which means the first day of the cyclone season will be on tomorrow. But the good thing about the current conditions here in New Zealand is that it is now strawberry and asparagus time. That will give you something to look forward to, folks. Early strawberries and asparagus, they are really, really good quality in the shops now. And it always is a good sign of summer coming to be able to have those treats. Even the Christmas cake at Gulf Harbour Radio has been made and is now soaking in brandy and whiskey. So
just have my whiskey.
I had to stick it out of the cupboard, but I only used Jameson, so that's all right. All right, where's the news? the King of Thailand. He's trying to break President Trump's record for the number of people he can fire. And this guy's doing pretty well. He sacked his royal consort last week. I don't know why he had a royal consort when he's got a wife, but I guess that's what they do in those sorts of places. And he sacked 4 more officials that were sort of in the bedroom area. They were fired for extremely evil misconduct and adultery. Wow, that must be a really good group of people there. It's in violation of the code of conduct for courtiers. I didn't realise we still had courtiers. 6 palace officials were fired a week or so ago, and they were accused of severe disciplinary misconduct. He's 67, this king. He's a cycling and aviation enthusiast, evidently. Very remote from his people, as he spent most of his time abroad, mostly in Germany. So, good goings on in Thailand. The UK elections. Now, I'm not going to talk about the B word, which I said I was never going to talk about again. But you do have elections, people, on December the 12th. So it's time you Brits got moving so that you can get back in time to voice your vote. WhatsApp. Now, I didn't know WhatsApp was owned by Facebook, which it is. But anyway, it has launched a lawsuit in California, home of fruits and nuts, against Israel. Yes, indeed. Mind you, you never know whose side Israel is on. Well, you do really. They're on their own side. But they have a company called NSO Group. It's a cyber surveillance firm. And according to WhatsApp, it was responsible for a series of hacking attacks on leading human rights campaigners that were using WhatsApp, lawyers, journalists, and other folk earlier in the year. So this firm has been, well, it's in the middle of a lawsuit at the moment.
Probably fake news anyway.
Well, it was fake news. And talking about fake news, The Guardian analysed all the fake news that was appearing on WhatsApp during last year's Brazilian elections, and they found that WhatsApp was responsible for most of it, and they favoured the far right eventual winner. So it does seem that if you are running a political party, you better have some really good IT people to be able to combat the fake news business.
Or create it.
Or yes. In fact, getting back to California, in fact, the centre of the nuts, fruits and flakes in San Francisco, social media plays such a key part in elections that a man in California's gubernatorial race, that's anything to do with the governor. It's a funny word, isn't it? It's a very American word, gubernatorial. It sounds like a disease. But anyway, he is going to run his campaign using totally false commercials on Facebook, sort of in a protest to the company current policy where they allow political advertising. So his whole program is going to be totally fake and on. I suppose it would be worth keeping watch on if you are on Facebook, which we are not. There's talking same with America at the moment. The Washington Nationals have levelled the World Series. 3 games apiece it is now, so there will be a very exciting final there. The US has not admitted any refugees into the country in October, and this pause may be extended into November. That's quite a record. I guess I don't know what the folk do that organise refugees. They must all be on holiday. It is thought that Mr. Trump will cap next year's refugee intake at 18,000, which will be an historic low. People in Australia, if people have been in Australia on sort of working holidays, Australia has now got to pay back some tax it put on people working holidays that came over in the category 417 and 462 visas. If you've ever had a working holiday in Australia, you will know what they are. In Australia, you do not pay tax on your first $18,000 of income. But foreign workers were in fact charged 15% on their first $37,000. So somebody, one of them, a lass from Britain, decided to sue and won. But needless to say, the tax department there are going to fight it. I mean, it's really hard to take on City Hall, isn't it? but she's done pretty well so far. Okay, what is the time? Oh, we've got time for a bit more. The French owner of Peugeot is exploring a merger with the US-Italian rival Fiat Chrysler. That will be an amazing combination. US, Italian and French. Wow, I'd like to be in the room when they do design work. But anyway, the combined market value would be about 50 billion. 50 billion. But there will be significant political and trading hurdles to get through if that is going to be pulled off. Fiat Chrysler had to pull out of the Renault merger proposals, I think it was last year or earlier this year. So it will be interesting to see if that particular merger goes ahead. Right, well that's about all that's of significance. David's still worried about his eyebrow growth from yesterday, but he wanted to know if I had any information on nose and ear and beard growth. I'll have to research that one, but at this point there is nothing further on that particular topic. Is there anybody out there who would like to give us a report? I think I've messed up somehow my streaming. I'm just going to put the microphone down here. I don't know what I've done. Well, I don't know what I've done on my streaming. I don't seem to have any information coming through, but I've restarted everything, so hopefully it will work now. Okay, 13 watching already, so it must have been okay at your end. All right, so there are, in fact, quite a lot of information's come through here. I don't know whether my report came through, but Il Metro 1017, 14 to 18, east, northeast, look more easterly on the satellite picture, so thank you for that. Overcast. We have Mesa Troy further up at Wano, land breeze and 30% cloud cover, only 18 degrees, 1014. Harry Z just left for New Zealand, so fair winds to you guys. Streaming's working well, thank you. Now that I've got mine working well, I can actually read that. Scoots, Savu 50% cloud cover, 1007, 10 knots from the southeast, and Amazing Grace at Denarau, where they confirm the report, 1006 steady, wind 5 to 8 south-southeast, and Imagine's there too. So good morning, everybody. I'll just do a pause to see if there's anybody that's actually, I don't think we've heard from Minerva this morning. No, we haven't. Is there anybody at Minerva that can give us a report? I did have Salemore there. I'll just see if I can copy them now a little bit better. Salemore, Gulf Harbour. Well, I've got you there, but I don't think I'm going to be able to copy you. Could you just advise what the conditions are, because others will probably hear you better. Go ahead. Okay, I did hear you, and I'm sure others did, but I didn't hear anything to copy. So anyway, we've got that report in for those of you that could hear. Thank you very much. All right, it's on the top of the hour now. Good morning, KTG. They are looking at the Sunday departure. You must have read David's report already. I'm going to, whilst we have the conditions that seem to be okay at the top of the hour, I'm going to get David to start off, because I know a lot of people are looking at leaving in the weekend. Here's David.
All right, good morning. Boy, about half our fleet is out and about somewhere or another. So we'll look at the synoptic picture for this morning. We get right into it. Our two highs, they're still flashing. That's between the date line and about 170 west, 170 west. And of course, that's creating a trough, a very active trough. So again, picture the hot, moist air colliding with the cooler, drier air. Air of different densities, again, do not mix, they don't blend, they clash. And the result usually is air ascending, reaches the old dew point, the cloud forms, and then the rain and gusty downflow winds. And of course, we have our squalls and wind shifts along with that. So that's what we're dealing with at that point. Fortunately, it's moving east. Now, to top it off, the isobars do squeeze between that trough and the oncoming high. That means a lot more wind. Now, a large number of yachts are at around 25 to 30 south. So we'll take a look at what we've got in store today for that area and how that swash zone is treating them. Now, if you're on the way to New Zealand from Newcal, it's a little bit different. You're not being affected by the swash zone from that angle. This wind southeast 20 or so, north of 25, and then from 25 to 30 south, we're looking at maybe south to south-southeast, 15 to 20, and then from 30 south to New Zealand, southwest, 20 to 25 knots. Now, if you're coming from Fiji to New Zealand, it's all headwinds, very rough between 25 south and 35 south. South to south-southwest, winds 25 knots, much higher gusts, squash conditions, particularly if you're on the rum line. And Minerva to New Zealand, terrible winds and waves, all on the nose, south to south-southwest, from 25 south to New Zealand. We're looking at 25 knots and higher gusts. We're getting gusts up to 40 knots. That's a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 40 knots. Well, now the next front that we talked about coming over New Zealand was about the 6th and the 7th. As the models are starting to equivocate on that. So whatever is going to happen then, it doesn't look like it's very much. If it does happen, it's a very fast mover. So we probably will see the next week high over the North Island on or around the 7th. Now the next front that would mean anything is around the 9th or 10th of November, 9th or 10th. And that will be preceded by northwest winds. So the next window, which you're all awaiting to hear, I'm sure, could be this weekend, Saturday, for virtually all of the islands, including the Minervans. Try for 9-10 November to arrive. Now, EC thinks a bit later arrival is okay. That's fine. If you shoot for the 9th, say, and EC is correct, you're in very good shape. So no worries there. So those of you that want to leave Friday, well, that's a possibility. If you're a Minervan, I would say no. If you're up in the islands, I'd say maybe. You're going to have fresh to strong winds up in the islands. And the winds, of course, are going to be quite fresh for the Minervans. We're looking at southerlies. So that is certainly on the nose. The seas are still up quite a bit. Those in Minerva, again, they should be quite thankful they did not leave earlier this week like a half a dozen boats did. I just can't understand what drove them to do that. But got a fairly decent microwave satellite run, and that's picking up areas of 40-knot winds, mostly averaging 15, jumping up to 35. Ouch is all I could say. It's just pretty nasty. And those of you that are out there, you now know what a squash zone is. So the next time you hear those words, you'll certainly pay attention, I would guess. For those within 3 days of New Zealand, we've got a trough overhead now. In fact, we had rain about an hour ago. Winds near Cape Reinga, North Cape area, southwest 20 to 25. On Friday, looking like southerlies in the 20-knot range, and on Saturday, southwest around 20. Seas 3 to 4 meters offshore. Now Sunday arrival looks pretty good, quite nice. So instead of rushing in to enjoy those headwinds, you may want to hold back and get in around the Sunday time frame. Winds variable, probably in the 10 knot range, so that will be a relief, I'm sure. Okay, a glance at the tropics shows the troughs that were affecting the islands have drifted to the north, affecting Rotuma, Wallis, Samoa, curving around to Niue, and then on to the subtropical depression that has formed within this trough. And that, of course, is south of Tonga, that depression. The Tasman High is doing its best to push the ridge toward Fiji. That would be the axis where it's located in Fiji. So east of the axis is the squash zone and the wind southerly quadrant, as we've been saying for some time now. On the other side of it, the winds are tending to the southeast. Now, looking at Tonga, the trough is over Nui Tukatapu, or New Potatoes, and that's leaving the main group mostly fine. Scattered clouds can be expected, isolated showers, I would guess. Now, Tonga Met has a strong wind advisory. I'm seeing a little bit more wind than they're forecasting in a different direction than from what they're forecasting. And Tonga Tapu looks like south-southwest 20 to 25. Vavau southerlies 15 to 20, at times getting up maybe 20 to 25. Lighter air tomorrow, 10 to 15 knots south-southeast. Those of you gathered in Tonga Tapu this morning, that your barometer reading was 1008.7. And seas about 3 meters offshore, 2.5 meters on Friday, so it's coming down a bit. Now, Fiji is looking much better today. The trough is to the north, over Rotuma. Rotuma, boy, they've gotten their share of nasty weather this season, that's for sure. The main group, though, looks quite fair, looking at imagery. For the next 2 days, there will be scattered cloud, chance of showers, even a thunderstorm thrown in, 1 or 2 of those. The all-important winds look to be south-southeast in the 20-knot range around lunch today, but 25 to 30 for certain areas like Batui, Ra Pass, southwest Viti, Lebu, areas like that are getting the stronger winds. Friday, we could expect southeast 15 to 20, and the same on Saturday, but picking up again on Sunday. Still out of the southeast, but I think 20 to 25. Vanuatu, under imagery, shows scattered cloud, more of it to the south, down from Erromango down to Venetian. And that cloud's moving south-southeast and north-northwest, getting pushed by the mid-level winds from that high. So fresh winds today, southeast in the 20-knot range. Later today, some areas could be looking at 20 to 25, and about the same thing tomorrow, and maybe even Saturday and Sunday. And Monday, the winds turn easterly, so that is a good sign. Now, a fair amount of cloud over our area of New Caledonia, quite a bit of stratus and stratoQ. Forget the ELOs today. Winds east to east-southeast 20, gusts up to 30. Tomorrow, 15 to 20 east-southeast, rising 20, gusting up to 30 later in the day. Oh yes, you don't want to be out there in the ELOs. And this may be a repeat on Saturday. So today, the actuals, outer reef, east-southeast 20 to 28 knots. Ile de Pan, east-east-southeast 10 to 13. And Nemea, east-east-southeast 15, gusting up to 27. So that's it, folks. That's what it's looking like. So you've got what may be your next window this weekend. And arrival would be nice if it was about the 9th. Because right after that, it looks like we've got a frontal band coming in, but one of the models, EC, thinks that frontal band is going to be later. So if that's the case, that is good news too. So there you have it. We'll do a roundup tomorrow that will cover the weekend, and we'll see if that window still looks like a window, and we'll go from there. So here is the chief.
Well, that looks like Fiji Customs are going to be busy today by the sound of it, because I don't think they operate on the weekend, do they? Just looking at a lovely picture from Muscat Cove that Valak sent this morning. Looks really beautiful. I'm sure the folk that are there are very pleased they are there, considering what we've just heard about what's happening in the Squash area further to the south. But yeah, it does look good. I was chuckling at the all of these toys here. What's it? The plantation resort, all sorts of water things for people that don't want to go too far away from land. Is there anybody wanting further information or giving a report? Please call now. Oh, lost everything. Sorry, my speaker went off for a minute, so if anyone did call, it was unusually quiet. Please call again. Any relays from anybody? I hope we have got out this morning because it's really, I'm not hearing much at all, but is there any relay? Nothing heard. All right, I just had a report from Muscat Cove, actually, from Valak, southeast 7 to 10, 1010.7, about 10%. There's not much cloud. It must just be behind where the picture was taken. Very windy yesterday in the mid-20s, so all you kiting people probably enjoyed it. All right, folks, that's it from us. If you want anything or have something further to add, you know how to get in touch. We'll be back tomorrow with a rather large roundup for the weekend. Usually on a Friday we do a fair amount. If you are not hearing us at the time we're broadcasting and have better suggestions, by all means tell us, because it's a little bit by guess and by God looking at the figures at the moment. It's hard to work out what's going on where you are. It's very noisy here. Anyway, good morning to you all. This is Gold Harbour Radio, and the frequency's all yours. I wonder why it was so quiet.
Yeah, I was wondering why.
Well, this speaker connection is dicky. I need to redo it. It's that connection into that speaker.